Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're going to talk about Osmo Action 5 Pro. So let's dive deep into it. So this puppy is $350 or 37,000 rupees in India. It's a bit higher, but taxes and stuff, but not too brutal. This is in real Indian Amazon, so price is not too brutal. Like I remember back in the days, action cam used to be only like 20,000 or 30,000. So price has creeped up a bit, but not too bad. And it's a whole system upgrade. It's not like GoPro where they are like, okay, what if we added a little bit of heatsink and just like upgraded the firmware, so to say. No, this is a full new build, and the core upgrade is from SoC. Now, another aspect is they have finally upgraded the LCD that is behind to OLED. Now, like, why hadn't people were doing that? Well, OLED is a bit finickier technology. It does require a bit more oomph before it can actually be useful. Now they have reached that oomph point. Your smartphone is very robust, very reliable, and not only that, it also ludicrously bright. So nowadays, it's far better to use OLED rather than LCD. However, action cameras were not doing that. This became the first one where it actually has a good OLED. Not only it's OLED, it also has very high brightness of 1000 nits. Meaning, what does that mean? That simply means in broad daylight, you can still look at it. So that's a good thing. Front and back, they did not cheap out, which again kind of makes sense. If you are going to a supplier for OLEDs, you do not want to order half. You want to have as big of an order as possible for economic reasons, so mass production. So they are like, okay, let's just put OLED. And again, it also improves the battery life. That is the biggest wow change. That's like it's very rare where you will have a change from last generation to next generation, especially nowadays, especially after 2015s. It's like it's a very incremental change. Here it's a big change. Here, this puppy claims 4 hours and everybody is actually recording single video clips that are exceeding 200 minutes at maximum setting. So 4 hours is actually achievable. Like if you have this system, you have a good full size SD card, things are working, you can almost touch 4 hours, and at full resolution 4K 60 4:3 going YOLO on it, you can still get 3 hour plus recording. That is 1 hour extra compared to everything else. That's not big jump. That's like you will notice it, that how big that jump is. This is no longer like a little bit better now. This is big. Basically, you're going from, let's say I'm carrying one pack of batteries that have 3 cells, the 3 batteries itself. How long can you use versus how long you can use a GoPro? This will outlast GoPro by a long shot, like long shot. So that is a significant change. And just to put salt on the wound, they are like, what if the battery did not change? It is electrically compatible with the older models, and you can put older batteries into yours. So for example, if you had already bought a Action 4 and you're like, is there a big jump? Yes, there is. This time there is big enough jump. So you're going from Action 4 to this, and you're like, hey, what about my old batteries? Be good. It will not give you the same battery life, but it will be useful. What happens in GoPro? GoPro is like, what if you throw it all away? So this is a big jump. Not only if you have brand new setup, you're gonna have a very good battery life, and you can still use your old system. So they show like you can change the chemistry without creating a random BS, electronic e-waste. So very clever. Huge sensor. Now be mindful, every company that came after GoPro, they were kind of very clear about this. It's like, how can you beat GoPro on their own game, right? GoPro knows how to make action camera. They have like almost 10 years where there was no competition in the market, so you can't beat them. How can you beat them? Well, attack where they are not upgrading the sensor. So every company that came after GoPro always had bigger sensor. These puppy had huge sensor. They are almost reaching a point where you can actually see the sensor by your own eyes. It's like it's big, like how you see, you open a Micro Four Third, you open it, sensor, you can look at it. It's almost reaching that size. So it's a huge sensor. Now here's the deal: even if you have same sensor size, technology defines how quality of the sensor. So you can have like same sensor size in the last version with this one, this still has bigger pixel size. You're like, how? If the length and width is the same, how can you, and megapixel is the same, how can you have a higher pixel size? Well, you have to understand, pixel size, the actual photon conversion area, that's very small, like 30% fill factor. So if you have a better lithography machine that is etching your circuits, you can increase that fill factor from 30 to 45%. That's significant jump. And again, you can also remove the electronics that are on top to backside, which we call backside illuminated. So same way, even though you can have same megapixel, same sensor size, and you can still have upgrades. You can still go from, hey, this has like 10 stops of dynamic range, hey, this has 15 stops of dynamic range. Same sensor, same size, same megapixel. How? Because of the better production, so to say. So this has better production. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not just like a copy paste upgrade. This is not like a refinement. This is like, what if we started from fresh? So huge sensor, which they already had, with better pixel ratios, as in like the actual photon size are larger, and it has better dynamic range. And it does show. This is one of those things where it's like side by side, it's not a competition. It's like, yeah, it's like comparing old iPhones to modern iPhones. It's that bad. And onboard storage. So it has onboard storage of 64 gigabytes. Now, like, wait a minute, they show 47. 47 is useful. They have 64. Like, you can't get a random size memories from manufacturers. So they're like, it's the OS is heavy. I'm like, damn sure. The OS is same size as like Windows XP. Actually bigger than Windows XP. It's almost like Windows 8. So that's why you have this weird number of 47. It's like, and I do respect them. They could have shared, hey, 64 gigabyte, but like, no, the useful space for your work is 47 gigabyte. I respect that. That means somebody was wise there. They're like, okay, let's not piss off the customer. So that's there. And what does that mean? That simply means you can, if you forgot your SD card or your SD card, broke itself, you still have something to do. So significant upgrade in all areas. So what sort of improvement we are looking at? They directly jumped into 4 nanometer SoC. That is magnificent. Now, does that 4 nanometer is exactly same as Snapdragon grade? Hell no. But is it exponentially better than what GoPro has? Yes. That's why they have such a big battery life. Is the SoC, it's efficient. And this also creates another fallback effect, or like, chain effects, where it's like, hey, if the SoC is not consuming too much power, it's not creating too much heat. That means your chassis does not overheat as quickly compared to all other systems. So that's a very big thing. And like, the SoC is genuinely good. Like, and the only reason DJI can do that is because they have such a large portfolio that they can pull knowledge from all other places. They must have worked with SoC vendors for DJI Mic 2, for their GoPro, for their drones and all their ecosystem. So they have much better control over SoC, which you would think would be opposite. You would expect GoPro to be very master of their one specific SoC, and GoPro is completely different. Where it's like, okay, we design one SoC and then we just keep milking it until people hate it, and then like, okay, now we upgrade it. Now we have 2 models, exact same SoC. They are changing SoC very rapidly and iterating. That means they have like a very good pipeline. To be fair, GoPro did try that. They did try to make 360 camera, did not work as well as they expected. They did try to make actual drones, did not work as expected. So DJI has a bit more oomph in their pockets, and it shows. This puppy has USB 3. Thank you. USB 3 is so freaking rare, only few smartphones have that. Like, per year, hundreds of smartphones are launched, only few smartphones per year actually has USB 3.0. Only one iPhone has it so far. The iPhone 16 series, I think almost all of them have, but till 15, only Pro Max had that. So having USB 3 handshake, which is around 5 Gbps, this can actually do the handshake. And can it transfer? Yes, it can almost achieve 80 megabytes per second. Now, that may sound like, not that great. Like, you have 500 megabytes per second should be possible. Why 80? The EMC that can do that sort of speed would be very expensive. Micro SD card generally only goes to that kind of speed. There are certain micro SD cards that are like made for high speed, could do a bit more, but not too much more. So 80 Mbps, and this is actual transfer speed. So this makes your life much easier. Meaning, even if you have a micro SD card, you do not actually need to carry a card reader. Because back in the old days, card reader was a mandatory travel, because without it, you will have a USB 2.0 card, and that will transfer barely at like 20 to 30. So 80 is a significant jump, twice as fast and important. And be mindful, this has inbuilt memory, so that is a double advantage. You needed to have it. Now it makes your life easier. You may no longer need to carry extra, what we call, card reader with you. So 80 Mbps USB transfer and Wi-Fi transfer, meaning if you're transferring it from your actual camera memory to your mobile phone, that would also be faster. So this is a significant upgrade. This is like, somebody sat down, it's like, okay, what can we do to actually feel it's better? Like, my first smartphone that has USB 3.0 is Samsung S23 Fan Edition. And trust me, there are times where you're like, like, I have to upload a lot of reels to Instagram, so I'm using USB-C. Yeah, it's a big difference. So 80 Mbps, that's good. I would have loved faster, but again, that would have increased the cost. So this is very good. 1 hour plus recording on onboard storage. Now, they're not very clear about it, but the maximum bit rate you can achieve in, like, maximum, like the camera cannot exceed that, is 100 megabits per second, small b. So if you are running on that, like basically 4K 60, every setting cranked 10 bits, everything going YOLO, you will get at least 10 hours of recording if the memory is completely empty. Actually more than that, 1 hour 20 minutes. And if you change the settings, if you are like, hey, I only record full HD, I think you will get 4 or 5 hours on onboard memory. So be mindful, 64 with nowadays is not that huge, but compared to what will happen if you had forgotten your card in all other systems versus this, you have 1 hour of high quality. And if you are like, what if I do not need 60 FPS? Then you can record even longer. Everything else you will do will increase that 1 hour longer. So 1 hour is your buffer time. Think in that way. And no other camera company has that option. And because the SoC has been upgraded and the sensor itself, the low noise reduction, so to say, the low light noise reduction is significantly better. How much better? Well, it's not even a competition at GoPro. Like, it wasn't a competition back in the days. Now it's like it's sad. Like a lot of people did that. I have linked the video down below. It's sad. If you look side by side of a GoPro and this, even a mild low light as in like indoor lightings and all that, or like evening time or morning time, yeah, no, like it's magnificent differences there. And here's the deal, even compared to iPhone, because again, there is a certain law of physics, like giant pixel sites with a giant sensor with giant aperture does yield better result. Your AI is not magic. Garbage in equals garbage out. So you always want to improve the things that are going into the SoC. This has really large sensor, really large aperture, and then they are dumping all the data to a really high-end SoC. Then the output is like, damn. Meaning this can be used in low light scenario compared to your mobile phone, and this will have better output. That is like, damn. Like if you are in like a Las Vegas and low light kind of scenario, you will use this and you're like, damn. So that's like significant. That's why I said like it's a significant jump. And it happens so because again, SoC was improved and the sensor. And it also because again, SoC has so much oomph, so much horsepower. It has 1 minute of pre-recording, meaning if you are doing something that requires a lot of setup and again a lot of waste footage, you can do that. It's like, okay, capture, like somebody trying to hit something. It's like, you know, a water balloon and trying to pop it. You can just like keep recording. Nothing is recording. It's actually just going cycling into the RAM. And the moment that happens, that contact happens, like past 1 minute is stored. Like that's exactly how we do high speed footage. So this does that. This is very good. Now, inbuilt depth and pressure sensor, I have no idea who needs it, but again, they just went YOLO on it. I'm pretty sure they must have extra GPIO pins left in the SoC. They're like, okay, let's just add some extra sensor. So it has that. Not only it can tell you how deep in the water you are, how high you are in the atmosphere, that can tell. Basically, almost G-Shock sensor. So again, it's up to you whether you need it or not, but it's a cool thing to have. And in terms of actual still shot, you can do 40 megapixel. Now how good it is? It's good. It's not like, you know, DS like full frame quality, but it's good. Now this is where you will find your SoCs of smartphone to be a bit better. You're like, video not, because again, video requires so much crunching, and again, you are faking something in smartphone. Here it's like less faking, so of course it will win in video. Low light video, this will win. In photos, this is okay. Not like expect to like 2020 smartphone. So not bad, but not great. But video, great. Video, low light, damn. So there is significant, and again, because it SoC has so much horsepower, it can even do you know, advanced subject recognition and framing. So you can have in wide shot, and again, because of the resolution and everybody is sharing content into their smart what you call smartphones, you can have vertical content, and then this can auto align it. SoC has so much spare power. Now, as you get older in life, you will realize one of the most important part of any equipment. It must be bloody easy to use. If it's not easy to use, there is no point to it. You are getting paid for your work. You are not getting paid for dealing with the hassle. So we want ease of use. And again, as you get older, like when you are young, you can, there is a certain level of joy to it, a certain level of nerdism into it, where it's like, oh, I can figure it out and all that. But as you get aged, you're like, yeah, bro, I ain't got time for that. Does it work or not? So this company is basically everything in this, every feature set is like, does it make your life easier? Yes, put it. For example, this has power delivery, meaning all the smartphones that are now in the market, as in like by 2025, the law is already passed. So they gave 2 years. Law was passed a few years ago. They had like 2 years of buffer time from 2022 to 2024 end. This 2024 end. By 2025, all smartphone must support PD. They can have extra proprietary handshake on top of PD, but they must support PD. So all chargers from now onwards will have PD. And be mindful, almost all right now that are in market already has PD. This is using PD, power delivery handshake. And this, if your battery is completely drained, you short everything, its battery is kaput, you put power delivery into it, in 15 minutes this puppy can get you back in the game, and it can record for 1 hour minimum. That's shut up, take money territory. That's just flat out shut up, take. Basically, you're going into a hotel to just refresh up. You can plug it in and it will charge that much. Now, be mindful, lithium ion chemistry has a limitation of what we call 1C, meaning you cannot exceed that. 1C means 1 hour, 2C means 30 minutes, 3C means 50 minutes. It's like logarithmic. So 1C is fundamental, but 0 to 80% you can go YOLO on it. So that's what they are doing. 0 to 80% they're going YOLO on it. So lot of current, lot of amps, lot of oomph. So that charges very quickly, but once it reaches that point, but be mindful, there's still charges in 1 hour. In comparison, good luck with the GoPro. Good luck. Like that's one thing that everybody is complaining about GoPro is like, dude, the battery takes 2 hours to charge, and there is no fast charging. Like again, it will give you 1 hour in the back, but only 1 hour, but compared to 4. But at least you have something. This has something. GoPro has nothing. So that's one thing. And because again, DJI has such a good portfolio, and these devices are very beloved. They're like, what if we supported it? Now, like, didn't the old one support it? Yes, but only single channel. So you can only dump one. Now they're like, what? Why have some stupid limitation? Now use both of them. That's like such an easy thing to do. Like you can see Potato Jet is like, he and his wife is like having that mic, is just recording, vlogging, chilling. I'm like, damn. Like it took so long for somebody to understand that we should be able to do this. And I'm like, I'm just waiting that somebody figured out, hey, what if we directly digitally transfer 32-bit file from external devices, be it Tascam, be it Zoom, be it Mixpre, be it this, because again, they can record 32-bit internally. They just do not transmit it because nothing can absorb it. If we just, that is the final line that we have not crossed yet. 32-bit float audio transferred digitally. Once we can do that, problem solved. No longer we will ever worry about like, oh, audio has to be synced. It's like, bro, audio is there. So I'm just waiting for that. But again, this is much better, genuinely good, awesome thing. And it has one of the fastest boot time, which simply means somebody actually spent time optimizing the kernel in the, SoC. So again, it basically shows they are developing so many things. They actually have a good enough team, competent enough team that's actually making, hey, everybody's taking almost 3 seconds to go into recording. We can do that in 0.3 seconds, basically sub-second boot up. It is significant. As of now, when I'm watching this, all the testing that I have seen, the data is here. It's one of the fastest. And it can do live streaming. Again, not that big of a deal, and why would you do that? But again, you could do that. And time code, again, that also is supported by GoPro, so that's also good. I would have loved Genlog because again, they do drift. And especially this sort of devices can be used for multi-hour session. You will find drifting. But again, time code will make your starting points match up. And MIMO app now supports background transfer. That means somebody was actually testing it. Like, does this app work? The app that we are selling with our device, does that work? Like, to give you a context, this is my Canon 800D. When it was launched, it was like flagship Rebel series. It had dual pixel autofocus, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Can I use like Bluetooth headset over this? No. Can I transfer raw files from my camera to my smartphone? No. Why not? Because no. They are like, hey, what if we actually made your life easier? Okay, it's cool and all to have like 80 megabytes of like, dumping speed. Cool, awesome, GG. Yeah, the mobile phone stops receiving it, then you will be frustrated. They're like, okay, we figured it out that it can do that. Now, what does that mean? That simply means you have to actually activate the setting because you have to understand, you have Google making the Android, then you have smartphone maker like Samsung, OnePlus, nothing, they are making it. So they have settings there. So you have 2 layers of setting. So you have, if you turn the settings on right now, basically allow it to run in the background, and the app does not have any OS layer lock where it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop every function in the background. Unless you have something like that, this should allow you to just forget about it. Like turn on, transfer, it will transfer all the file. So that's a very good thing. And again, I do not expect them to magically do it unless they are making the smartphone itself. They cannot do that sort of tight integration, like how they integrated this puppy directly into that. You no longer need to carry this. So that's a tight integration because again, one company is making that. Smartphone, they can't. But again, I'm happy that they actually put thought into it. And again, if you know how to change settings in your smartphone, you're good. And because again, you also have the ability to capture in log files, which again capture a lot of dynamic range, is just ugly as hell to look at. Would everybody go into Premiere and edit it, or DaVinci Resolve edit it? No. Most people will be like, hey, can I do that in my smartphone? It's like, I got you. So everything about this is like, hey, how can I make your life easier? For example, this is a tripod stick. What is the most annoying thing would happen to you if you had a tripod stick and battery died? The battery. So they're like, what if the tripod stick itself is the battery, charging the battery? Another aspect, again, they already had this sorted in the previous generation, where they had a battery box which had 3 cells pouches. This is one thing that they were doing much better. Rode also took time to understand, hey, you actually need to have a quality box where you can dump this puppy. And they are like, from day one they had box. Even in this day one, they always had box. Like, somebody is very good box designer there. They're like, okay, we have this stuff, let's put somewhere it. Meaning, if you're carrying 2 of these pouches, you're good, you're sorted. So ease of use is very good. That's why, like, I can close my eyes and tell you to buy this, and 99% of time you will be happy compared to any other action cameras. So what about the competition? Well, flat out, this is the first time significant update has happened. Meaning, for majority of people, even jumping from 4 to 5 would be like, whoa, I'm noticing a change. That's like, whoa. Because again, battery life is such a big jump, and low noise performance, and having OLED, those things are like, each of them. And again, if you are one of those weird freaks who actually do skydivings and all that, so you get the point, right? It's like, it's a big enough jump where they're like, hey, it's actually useful. Another aspect, new battery with old compatibility. That's like, they should have launched before that. Like, few days ago, if they had launched it, then the GoPro would have looked like salt on the wound. That would have been awesome. They're like, hey, we changed the chemistry, but it's still lithium ion chemistry. You're not going from lithium ion to lithium iron phosphate or to lithium titanate oxide. Yeah, there is like ecosystem of umbrella terms of lithium ion. So lithium ion is one category, lithium iron is different, and lithium titanate is different. These are the umbrella. Inside that, you can change the anode and cathode. So whenever GoPro is talking about, hey, we change the chemistry, they are changing anode and cathode. The core remains the same. So the voltage curve and all that mostly remains the same. It's not like drastic changes. Drastic change will happen from like going from lithium ion to lithium iron. Then again, it will happen from lithium iron to titanate oxide, LTO cells. We are not doing that. So you are just changing anode and cathode here. So it does not actually need you to require new charger controller IC, new everything. And this company is like, hey, we will not charge you extra. If you have a lot of old batteries, use it. That's like, so good. So good. So they did that. And again, it's backwards and forward compatible, meaning not only you can use bigger cells in your older camera, and again, you will not get same extra long battery life, but you will get bit better, because again, you went from 1700 milliamp hour to 1900 milliamp hour. So that's a good bit of jump. Not magnificent jump, but good enough jump. And again, the reason why this puppy is good is simply because it has better SoC, OLEDs, all that jazz. So battery with old compatibility, that's good. Better low light than smartphone. That's like, that means there is a value of you have carrying this puppy in your pocket. Like, it's like, dang. Especially if you travel at night and the evening. And what does GoPro offer? GoPro has inbuilt GPS, which they had removed in 12, but they added in 13. If you are one of those people who need to have GPS on the camera itself, GoPro 13 is your guy. But other than that, or again, if you are one of those people who like to tackle with the lenses, you're like, hey, I want to buy macro lens, ultra wide lens, amorphic lenses. If you're that kind of guy, go with GoPro. But other than that, nothing is there. One cool thing is still missing is this magnetic, come on. Yes, the magnetic USB door, so to say. That I really find to be very, especially because I want to do long-term, long exposure photography. Having that sort of system is really good. So that's one thing that I will say that GoPro actually did something use. And again, a shout out to GoPro, because they did not become very evil. They are like, okay, what if we allowed it for 12 and 11? I think it works in all 3 camera, 11, 12 and 13. So magnetic USB door is really good. So these are few features that you have, but majority. And what about that extra high burst frame rate? The resolution goes down too much. It's like, if resolution was at least full HD, I'm like, it's not, it goes down too much. It's like, by that logic, my smartphone has that. It's like, so it's not that. So basically, we are seeing DJI showing the company's range. It's like, hey, we make the audio product that everybody is buying. What if we had integration? I'm not even joking. DJI is the only company that's like, hey, a lot of people are buying Sony, mirrorless camera, and Sony has hot shoe mount. Okay, what if we directly connected using that rather than audio cable? I'm like, no other company. Rode is not doing that. Sennheiser is not doing that. They're like, What if we did that? Like Sony has that to Sony. They're like, hey, you have the same interface. I can use the interface. That's why I'm really happy with DJI as a company. Their philosophy is like, let's make your life easier. GoPro is like, what if we F the customer? I'm like, no. What if instead of creating this sort of ND filters really make me angry? It's like, dude, all you had to do is have a like very low ISO. You will get the same thing. I do not need to change or add anything. It's like so. And battery life again. They changed that battery chemistry change was like just to create more e-waste and line must go up. So and DJI did show that you can do better. So flat out for majority of people go with DJI. You will be happier. DJI Pro, basically 5 Pro, but for one or two people who need specifically that GPS functionality, that magnetic USB, again, if your time lapse is your jam and you need that feature, again, I get it, understand it, you can do that. Lens kit, again, if you're one of those guys, go YOLO on it. But other than that, for majority of people, shut up, buy DJI. It will be far better. So this was my presentation on basically DJI versus GoPro. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please give the like button, share it amongst a friend. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.